I'm Samantha Brown, professional organizer, decluttering specialist, and business coach. I created Pro Organizers Coach podcast to empower you to reach new heights in your business. I am on a mission to build a supportive sisterhood of passionate professional organizers. So whether you're a seasoned pro or you're just getting started, this podcast is for you. Welcome back to the Pro Organizers Coach podcast and YouTube channel. Today, I have Miss Laney Waller, and she is a member of something called the Photo Managers Professional Organization, which essentially is all over the United States, and it is other people that can help us as organizers help our clients with their photos and memorabilia. And so I'm super excited for this conversation because this is a question I get all the time from all of my clients is what do I do with all that stuff that I have and all of those things. So I'm really excited about this. And thank you, Laney, for being on the show.
Well, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to our talk.
Me too. Okay, so tell everyone a little bit about like who you are, how you got into this, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Okay. I originally my husband and I came from the Maryland, Virginia, North Carolina area and decided to retire at the Villages, Florida, because we had a friend who came down here and we visited and we fell in love with it, the lifestyle. And that it's wonderful, except, as they say, it's about the lifestyle, not the house.
Right.
Because the houses are smaller in retirement communities typically, and especially in Florida, you have the heat, the humidity,
Oh,
other
yeah.
things that can happen. In some of the coastal areas, you can have flooding, and just like in other locations in the country. Fortunately, knock on wood, fires have not been so much a big deal, although there are occasionally some of those. So when we came here, we bought it sight unseen, basically, because it was during COVID. So we just saw it online, and we unfortunately brought furniture that didn't fit. And the photos and memorabilia, of course, are probably the last thing to go through. And everything went so fast, the whole process, that we just took all our boxes and brought them here, and then like, "Oh, dear, where are we gonna put this?" In the
Uh-huh.
closet, not in the garage. So I said, "Okay." We figured out what to do with the furniture and all these other things, but the photos, I said, "This has been a long time goal of mine to organize these and to share them as a legacy," because I was always the one in the family that ended up getting all the photos. And from this relative and that relative and the genealogy. And it just so happened here in the Villages, they also have 3,000 clubs.
Oh,
And
wow.
one of those is, I mean, they have a club for everything, even for parrots. There are 2 parrot clubs. So they also have probably the largest genealogical society in the country. And so I became a member of that as well as many other clubs. And so I was able to combine my interest in genealogy with all the photos. And decided that in trying to get up to speed on the best way to manage all the photos, I needed some help. So I found the Photo Managers. It's a professional organization, as you said. It's headquartered out of Connecticut, and it's been in existence since 2009.
Oh,
And I had
wow.
just learned about it, and they are wonderful because they they train you on how to manage photos, both digital and hard copy. And
Mhm.
then they teach you best practices, how to store them, how to organize them, how to curate or cull them. And then they give you best business practices if you want to go into business doing this for other people, which I decided, well, I guess I'm going to do that too, because with all this knowledge and such a need here in this community, I figured it's a win-win
Why
situation.
not? Yeah.
You know? So I started out, I practiced as many of us do who become photo managers. And there's a whole certification process. But to get to that, I practiced on my family, my husband's family, and mine. So I created a vintage book on because he also received a whole bunch of photos from his family, and he had 4 different careers. So, there's a wealth of potential there of
Yeah.
storytelling and everything. And he's a great storyteller. So I created a book for his mother's side, for his father's side, and shared those with some of his cousins and other family members. And then I tackled my family. And one of the cool features with his family, with my husband's family, is I used a book format that is one of the things I learned through the photo managers that you can embed QR codes to record audio as well.
Oh,
And
wow.
so for example, one of his cousins had cassette tapes that she had received from her mother, who recorded the grandmother who came from Poland and immigrated here in the early 1900s during the pogroms. And so she recorded the story of her life and what it was like, that like there was a pogrom where one of the relatives was hiding in a closet and had a heart attack, which she was so
Oh,
frightened, and then stories about how they used to some of her favorite songs, and she sang on the cassettes. So I was able to upload those into this
the book.
cloud platform, and then it
Yeah.
included as a QR code, for instance, and you could hear it in Polish and then or in Yiddish, actually, and then also in English translated through with the help of the cousin.
Wow.
So that was a cool feature, and then my husband told different stories of each of the grandparents and parents, memories that he had, and so the cousins were just so thrilled and other family members, so
I
that
love
was
that because compared to
Mhm,
just so many of my clients, which is why I wanted to have this conversation for all the organizers that I'm sure they go
mhm,
through the exact same thing I do. Of you go into someone's home, a lot of times they're a little bit older and kind of what you're saying, like either they're ready to downsize or they've been the person that has gotten all the photos and they've kept up with it all these years. But now that some of them have like a whole library room full of
oh,
just
I bet.
scrapbooks and photos and or they have totes upon totes upon totes of nothing but video, VHS and photos and CDs and DVD, like all the
Mhm,
things. Because,
yeah,
there for a big period of time, there was also, like when I was young, you videoed everything on
yeah,
VHS, right? Like that was the
right,
thing you did when I was growing up.
right,
And so, but then people have all of these things and then they're like, well, now what do I do with it? And I
mhm,
don't know enough to tell them, like, I don't ever wanna say, "Oh, just get rid of it," because I mean, it's sentimental, that's, like, the most sentimental thing you can have, and then when they start asking me, "Should I ship it across country?" Like, I've found this, a lot of 'em go online and they find a place that's, like, in California or somewhere else, and then they're nervous, A, because
mm,
they're they don't wanna lose their stuff shipping it because they don't know the
right,
company, and so it just never gets done. The stuff just
right.
sits there in boxes, and they never do anything with it because I don't have an answer for them that they're comfortable with.
And then to top it off, when their kids inherit it, they won't know who all these people are.
Yes.
And so they like minimalism in many cases, and
Yep.
so it ends up in the garbage.
Yes.
So let me just show you an example.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm can you see this? If I
Yes.
Okay. So here's look how thin this is.
Oh,
See this?
wow. It's about the
This
size of a calendar.
Yeah, and it includes, the pictures. I included the history of what it was like when they left the country, what it was like when they got here, and then stories of each of the family members. So, like maps and a genealogy and then special stories about them. This is the size that people want. They don't want
Yes.
those huge
Yeah.
volumes. And, like, here's the one that I told you about,
Oh,
where
I love
it
it.
But this is the translation of
Yeah.
the great-great-grandmother's story and into English, and then there's a QR code right here in the corner, and you
I
can hear her
love it.
saying it and singing her favorite songs,
That's
and and
amazing.
and hearing somebody's voice is so special, you
And
know?
that's when you said that a minute ago, I'm like, "Wow, that's fantastic," because the other issue that a lot of people have is when they have all of these CDs and VHS, they don't have a VCR anymore, so they have no way to play it,
Right.
and so it's just sitting there, and they can't even play it to hear the voices, and then they don't know what's on half of it, or it's not been marked correctly.
Yeah,
And so tell me a little bit about the photo manager. So when you
okay. Well,
like
let me just I wanted to add one other example,
yeah.
if I may. This one is a 12 by 12, and just recently I digitized, in other words, I scanned 20 different thick albums like this. Each one was like this, of a lady who had painstakingly created these most beautiful albums of each of her 3 children and
Uh-huh.
also of her family history. She had all this, and then they were starting to just fall apart, the
Right.
covers and everything, and that's another problem is photos will just disintegrate in many cases, or the
Yes.
colors will change. So I created a thumb drive, a big thumb drive of all of those 20 books,
Wow.
and now she wants the next step is so she has something like that, and I'm giving her let me see if I can find it here also, just a moment.
Oh, yeah, you're good. I do
Okay.
this I do this
Well,
all the time when I'm in my group
okay.
coaching sessions.
What
I'm like,
all
"Hold
right,
on, let me
okay.
show you."
But yes, I will find it here in a moment.
You're good.
I tried to clean things up, organize, and now I can't find it. Then I have these nice little boxes customized for each of her children, and has a CD, or I mean, a
Thumb
USB
drive.
thumb drive that they can access and have everything there. She says,
Wow.
and then I'm going to record she's going to tell the stories of several of the pages of history in her family, and then I will create a book. It's in called Memento, which will have a picture, one or more pictures, and then her story in audio. And then using AI, it will transcribe it into English, the story. And
Yeah.
so it will produce a book at the end of her storytelling time. And then she wants something more fancy. So I'm going to then create a more fancy book like I did with these others. I mean, it's so many things you can do, and you can put them up on your TV. You can share them in so many different ways.
Well, and actually, like, I just now bought for Christmas, I bought my mother-in-law one of those Wi-Fi photo things that scrolls through the
Oh,
photos,
wow. Right.
and with
Yeah,
that,
I've got
they have
that too.
yes, exactly like that, and they have
Mhm.
an app now, which I didn't realize till just the other day, that there's an app, so from my phone, I can send her photos, and so
Right.
new photos will just start coming up on her photo album that's
Yeah,
scrolling through from each of her kids with photos of her grandkids, so as we're going through life, we can just send them to her, and then she
that's
automatically has them and on the photo, on the thing
mhm.
scrolling through. I thought that was really cool. I'm like, "Wow," and it was
Yeah,
so easy to do,
that's right. There are
and it
2 the photo managers have as partners 2 different companies that create these digital photo frames, and one of them is really exquisite in the resolution and everything. The other one has also a nice feature that it will include some short videos, and
oh,
it will
wow.
also allow you to put a little title underneath each of the photos, and
Yeah,
something like
this
that.
one had that option of, like,
Uh-huh.
did you wanna put, any wording underneath it? I was like, "Oh,
Okay.
fantastic. That is
Yes,
awesome." So
yes, you
so
can
the
create
people that
playlists. Mhm.
yeah, so the people that go through the photo managers, like, what is there anything that they don't learn how to do? Like, is it like VHS or Like, is it only photos? Is it CDs? Like, what are the things that you all learn to do and work
It
with?
covers the whole gamut, but to become certified, you have to master understanding digital photo organizing and, tangible photos, like slides and negatives and regular positive
Gotcha. So
photos,
anyone that's certified through them will know how to do the digital plus the ones in person.
and how to organize them and hopefully get them digitized. And let's see, best practices, including metadata and all the different apps that allow you to present those and how to store them properly, archive them, and share them. And
Love
one of
it.
the things too is you need to be able to handle them professionally with your client so that you can customize your solution for their particular needs.
Absolutely.
Um,
And I'm glad you mentioned that because for me as an organizer, I always tell my clients, like, I'm not going to recommend someone I don't trust or that I haven't at least done the research on because
yes,
they're representing me. Like, I'm trusting them with my client to represent me and do a good job. And
right.
so I love that everything you're talking about because it means that they're gonna know, like you said, best practices, and they're gonna be able to handle our clients professionally to where we know that if they are a photo manager, come from the photo managers, that they're gonna know how to do it professionally, and it's not just gonna be, like we can trust them essentially, and that we
Yes.
can refer them with knowing that's a good thing. And what I love
Mhm.
about it is, again, without them having to ship anything, because like you said, they're all over the country, right? Like people that are certified through photo managers.
Right. And so we have regular members, those in training, and those that get certified. And the ones who are certified, you can go on their site and look up somebody by, say, zip code or city or state, and it will list all the ones in that, you know, area.
Vicinity. Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
And so we also have partners, which are like companies and apps that they have tested and vouched for, and often will give discounts to us
Oh,
through that.
good.
Yeah,
And yeah, because so you all, because you're starting a business, like anyone that's a photo manager, the same way we started our organizing business, they started the business of
Mhm.
becoming a photo manager.
And in response to your one question about, say, DVDs and
Oh,
CDs
yeah.
and all of that, not everybody, and that's not something they specifically require that you learn because it often takes another kind of training that you
Right.
there are certain photo managers that love to specialize in that. So in my case, for example, I do, they ask you to list your specialties, what you prefer doing. And mine are scanning and photo books and use and sharing through different apps with other people. So, for instance, that means photo frames and some of the different websites and cloud applications and so forth. So,
Ooh, that actually makes me think of a question. So, speaking of websites, do you create websites with the photos on there, or does anyone do that for family members and stuff to
that
where they
can be done, yes. There are a number
love
of
it?
different ways to do that using certain apps, and there's a list of all the partner type apps that you can use to do that, like SmugMug is an example a lot of people have heard of. And in my case, I get a lot of requests also for VHS conversions, and in fact, as you've said, VHS, DVDs, and cassettes and everything, they must be converted or else they'll just, die
Yes.
because they'll disintegrate or you won't have anything to play them with.
Yeah.
And so they need to be converted currently to MP4 format for them to play on the
Gotcha.
that's the universal format to play on everything. And in my case, when I need to get those converted, I work with somebody who's not too far from here, and she does a superb job on those types of changes.
Which, to your point, actually is amazing because even if I don't, or even if the person, like, let's say I go to photo managers, I look for a photo manager near me. Even if
Right.
she doesn't specialize in analog or in VHS, she's going to probably know someone who does that she can
Right.
refer the client to, where
Mhm.
I have no clue.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to be a master, master of everything,
Yes,
Yeah.
and that's what I've tried, I've tried paperwork and, like, photos and all of that kinda stuff. I don't mind doing it. The problem is exactly what you're saying. To become certified in it, you have to go down a whole rabbit hole of time and money and energy and learning, and then it becomes another part of the business. Now, as an organizer, for me, I decided to teach other women to start their organizing business. That because
Mhm.
typically as an organizer, it kind of opens the door to something else, typically.
Right.
Like some people write books or, things like that.
Yeah.
But the photo managers is actually something that could partner well as an organizer. That
Yeah.
if you were someone that was interested in that, could be another avenue of your business that could bring in revenue.
And for instance, you can have people who are going into, say, assisted living, and they'll have all this memorabilia. And one of the things you can do as a photo manager is work with nursing homes and, assisted living facilities and help, for instance, with a digital photo frame.
Uh-huh.
I have like I set up one as an example where it has little tags at the bottom of each of the photos. This is your husband, or this is your wife, so and
Oh,
so at a
yeah.
time. This is you when you were doing that. This is your child, who's now grown, and here's his picture now. It's to
Oh
help
my
strengthen memory.
gosh, that's
And
amazing.
and it really facilitates conversation between the person who might be losing their memory and their family member or friend, and even the people who work there. People
Yeah,
who work there could say, "Oh, that's a nice picture. Who is that?" And it generates conversation.
yeah. Well,
Improves their quality of life.
and exactly what you're saying too. Well, it definitely improves her quality of life, but I'm actually helping a lady right now. I was just talking to her family yesterday, and they have her going into assisted living, and she's going from a one-bedroom apartment with that is full of stuff. And she's going into this space that is like a dorm room kinda space. I mean, it is teeny
Mm,
tiny. That
yeah,
it barely has enough room for her clothes, much less to bring all the photos and all of the all of those kinds of things. And so
yeah,
it's a very needed service that you all
yes.
offer,
Mhm.
absolutely, and not just that, but what you said at the beginning about, like, floods and fires, and if you don't have an extra copy of some of these things or have it digitized, it's gone forever.
That's right. That's it. So let's see, there was another thought I was having on that. So if you have, for instance, a patient in a hospital, okay, a
Mhm.
hospital or just an assisted living room, they can have also their own TV channel of memories, of videos. So there's an app called Projector that we work with also that sets up with your smart TV. You can have your own little channel with all your favorite videos, and at
Aw,
home or, elsewhere, and you can share it anywhere in the country also. So
yeah.
somebody could upload a video of the grandkids to that same channel, and they could see that too.
I love it. Kind of like me with my mother-in-law being able to send those photos, but you can send
Mm,
video, and I think that's huge because even this like the lady I'm helping right now, none of her family live here in Knoxville. They
yeah,
live all in other states, and so they've been having to fly in to help her, which is how they
mhm,
reached out to me because now I'm the go-between for them. But even for them, like you said, they would be able to send current photos or videos of her kids, her grandkids, her whoever, and
mhm.
then it keeps them from feeling so separated from their
Yes,
family.
yeah, and especially if they can hear the voices, that is so important. Sometimes they can't call, they're so busy or whatever. And
Yeah.
in my case, another person I work with does restorations and does a beautiful job at restoring older photos. So it's,
Yeah, because they get that, like, moldy, like, yucky stuff on them. I
Mhm.
actually just had so I have a group coaching community with organizers that I've created, and the women in it, one of them the other day on our app, she had posted a photo, and it was a photo album that had gotten juice or I don't know, something on it, and she was
Yeah,
like, "Does anyone know how like, what I'm supposed to do with this to help my client?" Because
yeah,
it was so disintegrated and mushed, and so that's actually a good point, a photo restoration person. And I love that this is even a thing, the photo managers, that again, that they are gonna know all of these things. So I don't even have to know it. I just have to send my client to them. And then that way they can go through all of that stuff with my client. Now, what's the timeline typically? Because I'm sure that's a question I'll get from clients of like, well, how long does it take? Or like, do they take all of my stuff and keep it for forever? Like, what do you guys typically do? Like, just, a few things at a time, or do you take all the photo albums at once? Or what's the
it's
process?
it depends on the photo manager, how much space they have. If all of a sudden they've got like 5 bins of stuff, they might say, "I can only hold this much at a time," that
Right.
or, but they might be able to take the whole thing. And then one really important part of photo management is sorting. And I think the guideline is you should not save more than maybe 30% of all the photos that you've gathered, because you've got some that are landscapes that you could see a better version of it online, if you look it
Yes.
up, unless if there's special meaning, like this is where we grew up, that's different.
Right.
Where this is where we got engaged, that type of thing. And and often you'll have back in the day, they would make multiple copies of photos. And,
Multiple.
maybe 20, 30 to get rid of all of that. And just they say there are different categories, like there's A, B, C, there's dump, where it's
Right.
just you don't need it. And the 30% or less should be those that really are nice, beautiful pictures and are meaningful and that's you want to live on,
I
yeah,
love that
as
because
your
that's a lot of
it's
what we do too, obviously, as organizers, is the decluttering piece. It drives me
yeah,
nuts that everyone talks about, and I love a good bin. I love a good beautiful pantry with labels. I love it. It's beautiful. But everyone forgets to talk about the decluttering part of you've got to pull it all out. You got to get rid of the old stuff. You've got to, what you're saying, get it down to the stuff that actually matters,
yeah.
and then organize it, right? And so it's that same concept. So I love that you all do that. Now, do you guys typically do that with the client, or do you take it off site and do it yourself and then like send them the stuff back, or how does that work?
It depends. It's up to the situation and the individuals involved. For instance, I am working on like I have a fairly recent client
Uh-huh.
that has all of these and she needs to move soon. Her house is for sale. And so it's finally down to the wire. And I have a business partner who lives here in the village is also the only other one. And so she it happens to be an ambassador for this online service called Forever. And what and so my friend Kathy, one of the things she does a really good job at is working with a client in decluttering and
Ah.
sorting the things. And that's not one of my favorite things to do, but she is very patient. In fact, she even worked one time for had an episode on the hoarders.
Oh,
So,
nice.
yeah, so I mean, that tells you how patient and
Yes.
understanding, So
Yeah.
she's doing that, and one of the things, for instance, for Forever is it allows you to upload all of your videos and photos that you want, and it will keep them forever. You pay a certain amount one time if you want, and then it will automatically change formats to a more modern format if required. Like there were old MP formats that are now MP4. So it will
Right.
make the change at no additional charge.
Oh, wow. That's
And then you can
awesome. And
share, you can invite people to see it and see all your collections, make albums online and everything.
oh, nice. Yeah,
Mhm.
she's got a lot of patience if she's doing all of
Mm.
that. I get on like, people would not believe how unorganized I am on my digital stuff. I had a guy, he calls himself the digital organizer. I did a podcast recording with him because I'm so not digitally organized. I've been getting better this year. I'm learning. But
Mhm.
just naturally, that is not who like, going in and renaming a file and trying to put it in the right folder. And to me, I never took the time. And now I'm like, dang, I wish I would have taken the time.
Mhm.
But, everyone assumes like, oh, you're an organizer. All your stuff's so organized. No, no, no. I do it for other people. When I come home, I want to relax.
Yeah, that's right. The cobbler's children, right? Of those.
Yes. Yes. Or the mechanic's car that doesn't run kind of thing. Well, yeah. So thank you so much for coming on and telling us about it. Can you tell everyone like the website to go to and all of that?
Okay, it is the photo managers altogether .com.
Okay. So, and
Let
I'll
me
put the
just
link in the show notes as well
yeah,
for and description for any of you that are interested because, and you said once we go on there, we can look by our city to see what photo managers are near us. And for
yeah,
me, what I would recommend, and this is what I do now, if there's just one that's near you, great, connect with them. But if there's like two or three that happen to be near you,
mhm,
look at their stuff online, see which one you
yeah,
kinda connect with the most and that you feel like would represent your business best, and then contact them, get a hold of them, let them know who you are because I'm sure
yeah,
they are coming across people that need organizers as well
mhm,
when people call about photos, and so, I mean, I think it's a great collaboration,
mhm.
to partner with for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it's a wonderful network of people that are happy to work with one another when appropriate for their particular client.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and I'm sure that
Mm.
they're a lot like the organizer or organizing field where we're helpers. We want to help
Yes.
people. And so typically we're very helpful with each other as well for the most part. We try to
Yeah,
have it be more community, not competition. There's enough clients out there for everyone.
right.
But thank you so much for coming on and telling us about it. I really, really appreciate this resource.
Yeah, well, my pleasure, and happy organizing, Samantha.
Thank you, Laney. And then for those of you listening, I appreciate you. We'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for joining us on this episode of the Pro Organizers Coach podcast. Go to proorganizerscoach.com to find all the ways that we can help you succeed in your business. Remember, you have the power to make a difference in people's lives through decluttering and organization. So keep honing your skills, embracing those challenges, and fostering connections. Girl, you've got this.